Hello. So in this video, I'm going to give you a little motivation about redesign so you can keep going because we are now in the thick of it in terms of the semester, and you may be in the thick of it in terms of actually your redesign, or you may be not quite there yet and just kind of avoiding working on it. So today's video is why redesign, and we're going to look at the aspect of it about students. Okay. In another video, we will look at the aspect about faculty and staff, basically the college. So let's look at it from, why should we redesign? Because here's what happens when you are working on making changes. It's really easy to get defeated, to get tired, to get sick of it. There's often conflicts that will come up in a department, and sometimes it's just really hard to keep going. So one of the things that I use all the time when I get frustrated with any project that I'm working on related to changing or improving math, I try to remember the students, which, we all are here to help the students, but it's hard sometimes when you really get working on things. It's easy to get mired in the things that are affecting you day in and day out, which isn't necessarily the students. It can be more things that are happening at the college and more internal to like other departments or just people in your department or whatever, just other challenges that you're dealing with. And we kind of get away from students a little bit. And when we're in those moments, because we're trying to think, how are we going to get the programming figured out? How are we going to pick a book? What are we going to do with this change? Are we going to make a change with placement? How are we going to get everybody on board with this? And not everybody agrees with this. So what are we going to do? So I am an eternal optimist, and it has served me well in my life. And many of you know that about me, that I'm extremely optimistic. But one of the things that really keeps me going when I'm doing all this work is, first off, I know that we can be done. I think that's the thing. It's not just my optimism. There's so much evidence that when we make changes to math programs, policies, courses, classrooms, that actual change does happen, improvement does happen, and students have a better experience. So it's one of those things where I don't want you to think, is this even worth the time? Like, is it actually is it going to benefit students? It absolutely can. But the thing that beyond that, and the thing that I use to motivate myself all the time, beyond the fact that I know it can happen, so there's worth working for it, is that what it means for students. And actually, I try to think individual students, not students like in this broad context, but like individual students. Think of them, see their faces, think of their names, and remember this, because the reason that I started working in redesign and the reason I continue is because I've often thought that there's just injustice in the way that we do things, that there's just a lot of unfairness. And it seems like there's like this secret set of rules and ways to get through things. And the people that need that guidebook the most often have the least access to it, for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with their own doing. And so I thought that a lot of times I'm like, it just isn't right. Why does this student get to take this class, but this one doesn't? Why does this student get to benefit from this, but if somebody else doesn't? Whatever. So that's one of the reasons I'm thinking, it's an injustice. But here's the pressing thing. So I'm finally going to get there, Kathy. I'm going to round the corner and get to the point. What I really think about is every semester that we delay getting change made, we are impacting some students' life and also eventually their quality of life. And eventually could be next semester. Eventually is not necessarily 10 years away. It could be a few months away. The longer we take to disagree or figure out what we're going to do or make the change, get it implemented or get it scaled, we are letting students not benefit from something we know absolutely can work. There's plenty of data. We have confidence. We have a reason to believe that we could be doing something well for them, because there are things that we have in place right now that we are doing harm for students. We don't mean to. I haven't met a person yet that meant to do harm to students, but it doesn't mean that our structures don't do that. So the thing that I'm always thinking about is we got to get this going. That's why I'm always so impatient. I know a lot of people are just like, oh my gosh, Kathy, slow down. Why are you so impatient about this? Because I keep thinking every semester longer this takes, that's another student who's going to walk away from the college, who's going to walk away from higher education, because of their math. And yeah, sometimes it's other subjects, but math seems to be the one that causes a lot of students just to kind of be like, to reevaluate. They're like, well, maybe I'm not cut out for college, and I guess I won't ever have a better job. I guess I'm never going to make better money. You know, that's just the way it is. And I guess I won't have some of these things that I always hoped of having with my family or my life that I always kind of imagine. That matters. And I'm sure that matters to you as well. I think everybody, when we really start thinking about it at that level, it doesn't mean reduce standards. I'm never, ever advocating for that. There are all kinds of things that we are doing that are not helpful to students that have nothing to do with standards. There's all kinds of things that we can improve. There's no change in standards whatsoever, but we can absolutely do them and improve things for students. One of the biggest ones I'm always advocating for, look at your placement. There are ways to make changes to your placement, how you allow who to step in the room. We're not changing what is in the room or what you talk about in the room or how you assess who's in the room, although those will all be good things that we can look at because there's always ways to improve. I'm just talking about who are you going to allow in the room? That's it. That's all I'm saying. When we make changes and we do that, that can dramatically impact students, how long they're with us, how much money they spend, how much they use up in terms of their energy. Like, can I really do higher education? When we make them take so many courses before they even get a credit, they lose steam. But when we are like, there's ways that we're like, hey, we can allow you to start in a college level course and we can do this in a sound way. It's not like we're just going to throw you in there and make everybody feel good. It's no, we're going to put you in a place where we're going to get the support you need and we want you to be successful. Is everybody going to be successful? No. Can a whole lot more students be successful than are now? Yes, absolutely. So why do we do this? Because I'm thinking of, especially like certain students that I've had in class over the years, and I'm often thinking, is this topic, like if we're talking about, like if we're in internal debate in a department, this topic, it's so important. Like, is it important enough to say that you can't have a degree and therefore you can't have a certain standard of living because you can't do this topic? I'm not saying the topic doesn't matter. It's how important is it? And what do we need to be doing with it? Is this something that is make or break determined in terms of the course? Or is it something we expose students to or something in between? So again, I'm never advocating for reducing standards, but I think we need to step back. And it's really easy when we are faculty to get just kind of like caught up in our classrooms and what we're doing. And it's good to step back and see like the bigger picture. What really matters here? What is the goal? So like in my class, my stats class, it's that they have statistical literacy. So if I can't get to the chi-square distribution, the world keeps turning. It's fine. But if they can't understand what a mean is and read a basic graph, that's a problem. So there's things that absolutely I have to get to, and some things if I have to let go of, it's not the end of the world. If I'm teaching pre-calculus and the student is going to calculus, there are certain things they have to get to be successful. That's just the reality. And that is going to differ depending on the course. But we need to be thinking about the student and their experience and not our perception of what we think it is, but what it really is. And right now we are preventing some students from having the quality of life they could potentially have because of choices that we've made and structures that we have created. Again, nobody did it to harm anybody, but it doesn't mean that's not happening. Okay, so get fired up, think, how can, I want to make sure students have the ability, with rigor and standards, but the ability to take a course and get the life that they want in a real way, not just handing out degrees, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about doing it for real. That's what keeps me motivated. And I hope that's what will keep you motivated when you're like, why am I doing this again? All right, see you next time.